Hello, welcome to Philly. Today is my first day doing a weekday meal that can help you during the week, during your work week, just to make it easy, delicious, and something that can be hopefully a go-to for you and your family. So I'm Philly, and this is my first time doing this kind of content. I do streaming on the weekends with a variety of different foods, including my grandma's recipes, and during the week you can expect a cocktail. We're now going to be doing wings once a month for quite a while, at least a year, and trying all different kinds of air fried wings. But then one of the days is going to be a weekday meal. And so here I am. I was at work, I'm home, and I want to make something that's tasty, healthy, delicious, and easy though, that we can get to the table pretty quick. So Hubs isn't home yet, and that was my idea for being able to present once a month is an idea that might help you out. So thank you for joining us. If this is your first time joining, welcome. And would you please make sure and hit subscribe so you don't miss any of the streams or videos that I upload. And also, if you want even more information or access or some of my favorite foodies, some of the foods that we share on Twitter, please make sure and find me on Twitter at Philly Live. So again, like and subscribe, and I'm gonna dig right in because we all have dinner to get on the table. So thank you for joining, and if you want to pop and say hi in the chat, I do love checking and saying hello and welcoming any are there. If you want to just watch from afar, that's fine too. I hope you feel welcome here in my kitchen. So as I said, I wanted to share some of my favorite weekday meals. And this is a meal that's a super big crowd pleaser. I had, especially my youngest, the one that you've seen in some of the streams, Matt, he was pretty picky. He's still kind of picky, but he was really picky younger. But this was something that he loved. So it was nice because for Andy and I, we kind of felt like we were having just like a real, not fancy meal, but I don't know, it was up a couple notches, real flavorful. But with Matt and David, they enjoyed it. It was just a crowd pleaser. Now I'm going to be fixing it today per Andy and my weekday style. So I'm going to tell you about a lot of substitutions you can make and a lot of different ideas for serving it. Tonight we're keeping it simple because what we tend to do, my hubs and I, is we tend to eat more simply during the week, and sometimes without even a carb. But so sometimes without a carb, and we just kind of do lots of vegetables and some protein, and that kind of works for us. And then on weekends we tend to splurge, drink carb up. Now that doesn't happen all the time, but generally speaking, that's what we do. So I want to be real with you. So today I am going to be showing the recipe for Pork Diane and roasted cauliflower, because literally that's what we would do. We would just have a protein and some vegetable and call it an evening. Keeping it simple. So with this recipe, by the way, all the information is down below. There's a link, and just a little bit about the recipe. It does involve, I do pork tenderloin. I hope that you feel as a cook that you are in charge of your own kitchen and that you can decide what kind of meat that you would like to use. I find that pork tenderloin goes on sale from time to time in the store, and whenever it goes on sale, I buy it up. And what's nice is if you get it in these shrink wrapped packages, you get two. Sometimes you can get a value pack that even has more, and then I just separate them when I open them, since it's just Andy and I just use one for us, and then I freeze the other one for another meal. And pork tenderloin to me is so versatile because it cooks quickly, it's easy to work with, and it's lower in fat and super tender, so I really enjoy it. But you could use pork loin absolutely in this. The recipe below is most like the recipe that I found years ago. So any of you that have been listening and following me know that I am a little bit of a recipe hoarder. So because of my age, when I was younger, you got all your recipes really at the beginning from cookbooks. And so oh my gosh, I was always on the hunt for good cookbooks. And I'm a teacher, and the school I taught at the time, there was a book sale. Schools have book sales, and they had great deals for adult books too. They had cookbooks, they had novels. It was great. They just had lots of different choices, so for the children and for the teachers. And they always had great deals on cookbooks. So this one cookbook I bought it was something to the effect of, and I believe it was cooking light, but it was with like name brand recipes. So what basically the concept was that certain companies, whether it was the one that owned Campbell's Soup, or the ones that owned, like in this case, Smithfield uh, Pork, that company created recipes that would make their product shine. And so it was really a great opportunity to see what the companies felt like their products would work best in. And it was super unique, and it did have, everything was on the lighter side. So it helped with calories and fat and all that good stuff. So that's where I found the recipe. And then later, when I didn't really want all the cookbooks, I had forgotten and I'd gotten rid of that cookbook. And then I was looking for the recipe online, because at that point I was getting all my recipes online, and I found something similar because I did remember the ingredients, but I just wanted to know the proportions of them. So in the link below, it will show you a version of the original recipe that I saw years ago in a cookbook. But I do things a little bit differently, and more according to how it was in the cookbook originally. I do use pork tenderloin, but you could use pork loin, you could use pork chops. There's, lots of options for you. And I love that. And you can also, now steak Diane is a big thing. So you could obviously also zhuzh it up and use something, a fancier cut of meat. But I really do like it with the pork. I think it works really well with the pork flavors. So before we get started with the pork, and I'll talk about substitutions and kind of what I do on my own for this recipe, I'm going to get my cauliflower ready so that I can just pop it in the air fryer when the timing is right. So it's a weekday. I'm going to be real with you. Yes, I do occasionally buy a head of cauliflower and chop off all the little florets, and I make a mess, and that's all fine and dandy. But there are also times, where they go? Oh, there they are. When I'm in a rush. So I buy them already chopped up. So you'll learn a little bit about me, because while I do have to save time, I also am a bit of a, I don't know, I guess hubs will call me perfectionist. I might call myself like caring too much about the details. But whenever I cook vegetables, I always aim to have the vegetables be in a similar size, right? You want the vegetables to kind of cook evenly, so you want them in a similar size. So while this does my hard work for me, I'm going to dump it in here. I now want to, well, like here, we've got some cauliflower leaf. I don't really want that, or the cabbagey stuff. So I'm going to pick through, and I'm going to cut these down just a little bit. You don't have to. I think there's definitely people that would be like, it's fine. If I'm buying a chopped up, why would I mess with it? So I'm just going to split these up a little bit so they'll be more the same size. And like here, we just have some stock. That's okay. I mean, it's one thing guys making soup, but these are going to be really our side dish for this. So I want it to be nice. I want to pick through it a little bit and make sure there's no funny business in there. So these have already been washed. I think they say triple washed. Are they? But who knows? Oh, well. And now I'm going to put the other bag in and just kind of pick through that. But like, look, even in this, there's this huge one. And so then you're going to find that things aren't going to cook all the same rate. And some are going to be mushy, and some are still going to be, crunchy. So you kind of want, at least I do, I like to have everything be a similar size so that it cooks similarly. So I'm just picking through, looking and seeing if something's a little too stalky. And there will be some smaller bits in here. The smaller bits with cauliflower especially are the best, because I'm going to be doing them in the air fryer, although you could totally do it in your oven. And if you have a convection oven, even better, but a regular oven is fine. And the little bits get more crispy. Those are my favorites. So it is all good, but I just don't want any really big chunks. So I'm just cutting these down a little bit. But you can see right there, it saved me so much time and mess if I'm trying to get dinner on the table quickly. So let me throw my trash away, because the other good tip is clean up as you go. And I know while you all might remember that Hubs does the cleaning up in this kitchen, he's so appreciative when I kind of tidy up as I go, because otherwise it's just a royal mess when he gets to that part after the meal. So all I'm going to do to this is I'm going to add some salt, pepper, olive oil, and then I like to add, because anyone that knows me knows I like a little heat. I find that I don't do this all the time, but often I'll just add a little bit of the red pepper flakes. They just, I don't know, they just give it a little something, which I really enjoy. Oh, there's my olive oil. I have it right here. So I'm just going to drizzle some olive oil on it. this is a slow drizzler, so it's not like it's a ton, but I do want them coated so they'll get crispy. I'm going to get some fresh pepper. This recipe is super yummy. I'll tell you, the first time I made the pork dish, we both looked at each other and we were just like, it's a keeper. It was before the boys were born, so it was just us. And again, you don't have to use as much as I did. We do like having a little spice. I feel like when you get that little spicy part on the roasted cauliflower, it's just a nice little zing. So I think it really works well always, but especially with this dish, just to have a little bit of goodness there. So I'm just sprinkling some salt. Of course, you can decide the salt to your taste. Some people like things super salty, some less so. And that's what I do like about home cooking, because you can make it your own, right? You can decide how much salt, how much oil, how much spice, all those things. Hey, Archie, how is it by you? I am using some Worcestershire today in my recipe, which I will say, one of my favorite videos you did was talking about the word Worcestershire. And I get a kick out of it because it really does befuddle a lot of people. And I have to tell you that even sometimes if it catches me off guard, it befuddles me. I don't know what it is about that word with American people, but they follow all over it. They try to, and now I'm a teacher, so I try to pronounce. Sometimes I look at it and I want to think phonetics. But that video you did a while back just made me giggle. I really enjoyed it. Thank you for joining. I appreciate that. Yes, he's back at work, but yeah, he was down. He was down for quite a few days, and I have been staying away from them. I have been washing my hands so they're almost raw, and we have our air purifiers going, and we are just so far, knock on wood. And I did also get my flu shot because it definitely was the flu he had. And so the good news is that I do think my flu shot is helping too. And if for some reason I don't think I would get sick at this point because I think so many days have passed. But I do think if I would, it wouldn't be as bad as his because I had my shot. And I was just telling someone about this, and I don't know by you, sorry to digress everyone, but this is something that we're all dealing with, right? Oh my gosh, could the news talk about this anymore, about the triple threat out there? And I feel terrible for the parents of the babies with the RSV that is really plaguing our nation. I don't know what's happening out by you, Archie, but our youngest, the one that you've seen on our streams, he had RSV when he was, I think it was between 6 and 8 months old. And I will tell you, that was the scariest I've ever felt as a parent for the welfare of my child. He was so little still, and luckily he wasn't that bad that we had to go to the hospital, but I was so frightened. I remember just going in, making sure he was breathing. So it's real what's happening there. But the story with Hubster is that when he went to his doctor, they would only give him the COVID shot. He was going to have to return in 3 weeks to get his flu shot. Meanwhile, I could just go to our drugstore and get the flu and COVID at the same time, which really most people I know did. And because of that, he ended up getting the flu. So now he has to wait like a month to get, it's just a mess. It's just a mess, but he's doing better. Thank you for thinking of him. So these have been tossed, salt, pepper, and red pepper flakes if you like a little spice. And I'm going to set them aside because they will be going in very shortly, actually, into our air fryer. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get our air fryer preheated. If you use an air fryer or your oven, it is always best to preheat it. You want it ready to go so you can start doing that browning, especially with cauliflower. You want those like brown, crispy edges for sure. But I'm going to use the air fryer this time. So I'm going to get it preheated. I know he does. And so you can tell he doesn't feel good because he has not been having any cocktails. Like it's just, when our kids were small, you could always tell when they were sick because they were super active boys. And so all of a sudden it was quiet in the house and you knew something was up. Either that or they were getting into something. But, when Hubs doesn't feel like making a cocktail after work, then you're like, okay, he is not okay at that point. So we have our cauliflower all ready to go. It'll go in once this is preheated. And honestly, I feel like in the air fryer, it can take anywhere from 10 to 12 minutes. And so I might not put it in right away because I just want to time it. Although I guess thinking out loud, it can also hang out there. Like we don't need things all at the plate, super piping hot so we burn our mouths. Like, I mean, we're pretty relaxed here in this kitchen. So I'm going to get my pork tenderloin ready. And I'm keeping it real. This is how I got it at the store. This is how it's coming. I haven't cut it open yet. Before I do that, I did remember. I wanted to get this, my parsley chopped up for the recipe because, one thing you want to be careful when you're working with meats is you don't want any cross-contamination. And you see, that's why I actually have 2 different cutting boards because of that. But I am going to do my parsley first because that's one thing I do need to cut. And we're going to use parsley for the sauce later. So I'm going to get some, and I have my poor little parsley plant that's looking peaked. There's nothing worse than peaked parsley. But I will be able to find enough green ones to chop up here and be able to use for my sauce. So that's good. Get this. So yes, here in the States, there have been a lot of illness going around. A lot of illness going on for sure. So, and I hear it's funny because I'm not funny, but I work at a school where you have germs everywhere. So very good about, washing my hands. And I actually, even in my room, I have an air purifier that they're really saying after all this that happened over the past couple of years that your air quality is really what affects you and can help you stay healthy. So that's one thing I try to do. And if anyone popped in, by the way, if anyone was watching before I actually came on, when I did my little, screen at the beginning, my little elevator scene, I had an update on some video software that I used because I had dropped a video this weekend of my grandma's anise cookies. And I don't know if it messed up some stuff on the computer, but all of a sudden my song is gone. And so when I opened up to do my stream, it's like, your song is missing. And then I tried to literally download it so I could re-upload it, and it wouldn't even recognize that. So something is amiss. I think I'm going to need to get my techie son to help because I just don't know what else to do. I did what I thought was a fix, and my computer's like, nope, not good enough, which is a bit of a bummer. Oh, I know. Oh my gosh. You were saying that I think you were even asking us. That's what I love about Twitter. So if you aren't on Twitter and you're a foodie, I do think you're missing out because we have so much fun on Twitter. Archie, and there's a whole ton of us that really enjoy sharing pictures of what we're making or what looks good to us. And also, Archie the other day had asked, he's like, what do you guys think about chopping? And when you asked that, Archie, it was going to be too long a story to post on Twitter. But one of the things I thought of was back in the day when Giada De Laurentiis first came out with her show, I remember watching it and I was like, there was just something different about her show. And I love Giada. I love her recipes. I cook a lot of her recipes, and there'll be more in the future. I mean, she's a definite go-to for me. But I remember watching her video and I felt like it was almost just a little personal because, she always had she has a beautiful figure, and she always had these tops that really accentuated her beautiful figure. And why not, right? And then they would get close up with the chopping, and it was just this whole scene. And I was almost like, oh my gosh, like it's a little personal, is it? So yes, Archie, I do think people like the chopping. Although between you and me, I think my chopping stinks. So, but you do a much better job chopping because you were professionally trained. I try to do that whole putting, bending your fingers in, and I don't do very well at that. So now I'm going to get my tenderloin ready. So the first thing, there's going to be lots of liquid in here. So again, my favorite thing, and you saw that I did it with my herbs first, then here, and then we'll give it a good wash. I love my kitchen shears, one of my favorite tools because it cuts fat off, protein. I use it for everything. It's awesome. And you just have to give it a good wash. So, I need to get this open a little bit more. So there's going to be 2 nice tenderloins here. And I want to get them dried off a little bit. I do not need all that liquid. So get those dried off. Got some paper towels. There we go. Get it all dried off. We only need 1. So I'm going to take one of these and I'm going to throw it in a Ziploc bag, which I got already. Yep, right over here. There we go. And these were quite large ones. In the recipe, it talks for the protein to be about 1 pound. But I know that this one especially is bigger than 1 pound. This one is probably There's probably about a pound, the smaller one that's over here. I'm going to pop this in the freezer so I don't forget, because that will be another meal, and that will make a nice dinner for us. So I've got my other one. Okay, so here's my nice tenderloin, and what I'm going to do now, I had my elder son. It's funny, my youngest was fussy about what he ate. My other son was really super fussy about fat. It was the funniest thing. Like, he just got all weeked out about fat. So I was always very careful about trimming. Now, this one's actually trimmed quite nicely. Like, there's really not a lot. But one of the things that would bug him was the silver skin. So it doesn't really bother me. So if it doesn't bother you, you can just leave it on. But it is tougher. And at restaurants, of course, they take it off. But if you want to take it off, the best way to do it is turn to that side. You kind of run your knife just under it, and just you flip it off, and then I reverse, and I just go until I get to the end. And then I just get some more. I get a little bit thicker, or wider rather, and I go opposite way, get it off. So it's a little tedious, but son was happy. And, you know, for a mama that's just trying to feed her family, it was kind of like the least I could do. If it made him more excited about the meal, all the better. So that's just one part that with tenderloin. Now, of course, if you are doing just pork loin or pork chops, you know, you just trim them as you see fit. Where fat is flavor. So that's the one thing you're giving up when you trim too much of it off. So that's the thing to keep in mind. Then what makes this such an easy weeknight meal is that I just cut these into medallions, and that's what we're going to be sauteing up. So I'm going to get my my cauliflower in, because I want to get that cooking while we're working. So it's all preheated. You might have heard it do its little ding, ding, ding. And I got to tell you, when Hudson and I watch the videos back, you know, after the stream, you know, we'll always take time to watch it just to see how everything went, and, you know, if there's anything that we, you know, would need to edit out or whatnot. One thing we noticed is we're so trained in this place with our dings, the different, you know, beeps and dings, that when we hear it in the video, we still turn and go, oh, is that, I mean, it's just almost like Pavlov's dog. So I'm going to put this in. This is all been tossed in oil, but I am going to give the back of it just a quick spray, because I definitely want to have easy cleanup, or I should say my hubs definitely wants to have easy cleanup, so he appreciates me just giving it a quick little spray on the bottom. And I'm going to toss them in. A nice sizzle, sizzle. You probably can't hear it there, but a nice sizzle, sizzle. And I want to spread those around so they make one layer. Nice. And I'm going to get this in, and I'm going to put it at 400, as high as mine goes. And I'm going to, it says 15 minutes. I'm going to reduce it to, I think, 12. And I'm going to have a shake so that halfway through, I have to toss it around. So that is cooking. We don't have to worry about that. That was easy peasy, right? And like I said, if you have a head of cauliflower, it is easy to take off those florets and do the same. I just like those little quick steps during the week when I don't have as much time to prepare stuff. So now to get our pork ready, what we're going to be doing is we're going to make tenderloins. And the main thing I would suggest is you just, whatever thickness you decide, you make sure that they're all the same, because you want them to cook evenly in the pan. So we actually like ours kind of on the thicker side. It's probably at least an inch. So that's what I'm aiming for, is at least an inch. Because and in fact, it's funny, I was looking at the recipe I found that has the similar measurements and ingredients for the sauce, which is, it's all about the sauce, isn't it though? Isn't it always about the sauce? But on theirs, they pound it. Now you could, I've never pounded it. And the original recipe that I found it in didn't have you pound it. That's totally up to you. What I find, especially if you're using tenderloin and you just make these lovely medallions, is it's almost, because, you know, the tenderloin is similar in the pork world to tenderloin in the beef world. Super tender, and I like cooking mine medium. I do not cook mine, I don't overcook mine. So you can cook, it's your kitchen, however you see fit, but I like my pork tenderloin to just be cooked medium. Actually, I do my pork loin the same way. But to me, it's almost like these little steaks of pork. So I would not personally want to pound them, because I like them being juicy. And then there's that sauce. And then this last part, what ends up happening, and you can see this here, this is that last little bit, like the tail end, is it's already quite flat anyway. So if you notice, they're really almost about the same thickness. So I'm not going to cut this into a medallion. I'm just going to cook it as is. And that's kind of what happens. So that is all good to go. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to season it. While we're seasoning it, I'm going to get our pan heated up, because when you're weekday cooking especially, you want everything kind of working in concert. It's almost like you're a little conductor trying to get all these things done around the same time. So I'm going to get my seasoning. My seasoning is lemon pepper. Now, this is a lemon pepper from Trader Joe's in the States. I don't know, Arch, do they have Trader Joe's in England? That's a good question. I wonder about that. Let me see what you're... Oh, yes. And I will have to tell you, if you notice, I don't have colorful nails. You will see me in colorful nails. Well, it hasn't even been this past year, because I do not, my manicures, especially I think because I like cooking, manicures do not last. And I know some women get those gel nails and everything, but I found that they really ruined my nail bed. And so that kind of freaked me out. So I don't have pretty nails. I mean, I keep them clean and I keep them a nice length, but yeah, I know. So I don't think I'll ever do cutting ones, because I don't think it'll be very sexy at all. That stores sell pork too lean. Interesting. Well, for this dish, it works, because really, again, I'm not overcooking this. I want this cooked medium. I know some people that like it even medium rare. To me, I think for me personally, I like pork a medium. Like, it's juicy, it's still a little pink in the middle, and it works really well with this. But yes, they have made pork a lot leaner, a lot healthier too, because before you used to have to cook pork all the way because you might get, I think it was trichinosis or something. So they have come a long way with pork, but it is leaner. And I think it was leaner just because it was probably our fault, right? With the States, everyone wanting to, when we went through that fat-free phase, which was just silly. And no, Trader Joe's, oh my gosh, Trader Joe's is like the best. But this is a lemon pepper seasoning, but Lawry's has it. I know most seasoning, spice mixture companies have a lemon pepper. So I know it's pretty common. If you don't, all you need to do, honestly, is just use salt, pepper, and there's already lemon in the sauce. You really won't notice that big a difference. But if you have lemon pepper, use it. I will say the first time I bought lemon pepper, not this one, it was the Lawry's one, was for this dish all those years ago. And I like it because it's grated on, which is nice. I feel like it's just, they burst a little bit more because they're grated fresh. So I'm just going to do the one side. Now, I do watch my salt, and there's already going to be salt because of the Worcestershire sauce and the Dijon. So I'm not going to oversalt these, but, obviously if you season it to the way you'd like it, for sure. But this is nice because it gives you some lemon flavor, lots of good pepper, and I love pepper, which is awesome. I'm going to get this going, and I'm going to I'll turn on the camera so you can all see this. Now, last time the camera was delayed, and again, being my personality, that absolutely drove me crazy when I saw that in the video. But I think now it's okay. It's okay. It's not great. A little disappointing though, but I gotta let it go, right? It's just like that Disney video. Let it go. Don't get into the details. So our pork is seasoned, and in the recipe, these are the ingredients we're going to be using to make our sauce. We are going to be using butter, lemon juice, Worcestershire sauce, Dijon, and then finishing up with parsley. We're going to use half of the butter for the sauteing part of the tenderloins. What you're aiming to do is get them browned a little bit and mostly cooked, not all the way cooked, but mostly cooked. And then they're going to go off and rest, take a little nap while we finish the sauce. Then we add them to the sauce, and then we're good to go. So I will tell you that we love this sauce so much, because we are going to be a little simple with just our cauliflower and our tenderloin. I like having extra sauce to drizzle on the vegetables or potatoes, because we do have it with potatoes. Sometimes you could have it with rice or pasta on the side. The sauce is delicious. So I like having a little bit extra. So that's how I'm going to cook this. All right, so I'm getting my butter in there, a little knife. So I'm going to, since I'm doubling my sauce, I'm going to get half my butter in now, and then I'll put in more butter when I'm making the sauce. And I need to, my air fryer is freezing at me, so I need to do some tossing with my air fryer. So I'm just flipping my pieces. When you flip them, they are able to get better brown. So the flipping, that extra step, is a good step when you have an air fryer. Yeah. Whoops. And my butter is getting a little too brown, so I'm going to take it off in a second. You see that it got a little too brown. So apparently we're having brown butter Pork Diane tonight. And then I'm going to get mine on there right away. So I'm just going to put these medallions in here. I'm going to begin to brown and cook them. Yeah. Because they have room to breathe. So that was like a perfect size pan to use. I want it high enough to get some color on there, but not too high to burn the butter. That's the main trick. I'm going to get a pan out so that I have it once the pork is done to my liking, so it can rest and take its nap while I make the sauce. And as many of you know, I like to have mine take naps in the microwave so it stays warm. We're going to let it brown a little bit. One of the things that's really nice doing with this, one of our little hacks, or healthy hacks, is to combine some mashed potatoes, like the same portion mashed potatoes with mashed cauliflower, because that lightens up the potatoes a little bit. It lightens up the calories. It gives you more veg. So that is a lovely thing to have on the side if you are trying to be a little healthier and you just don't want like mashed potatoes on the side. Archie, your roasted potatoes would be phenomenal on the side of this dish. You're so mouth-watering with those roasted potatoes. Oh, hi, Amy. Amy to Amy. I actually always wished that I spelled my name your way. I was always envious of that. In fact, the whole little French fact is I was just I don't know enamored with the French and the idea of France, and so that was the language I chose actually and took all through high school. So one day I'm going to be going over there. So I'm noticing that the color of the sides is coming about halfway. So I'm going to turn mine and see how the color is. Oh, gorgeous. Now look at that. Look at that. That, I don't know if you can tell with that camera, but that is what you want. It's beautiful brown. That's exactly what you want. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. You want that color. Color is flavor. Oh, these are perfect. They're not about to be. You've done better. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Okay. While this side is getting done, I'm going to do a couple things to get ready for our sauce. So these are the proportions we're going to need of all the different ingredients that I talked to you about. The biggest proportions we're going to need are, the butter and the lemon juice. So I'm going to get some lemon juice. I'm going to need, for this, the original recipe is 2 tablespoons. I'm doubling it to 4 tablespoons, which is 2 ounces, by the way. Have you ever wondered what tablespoons to ounces is? So I'm going to get this squeezed. This one, I need another knife. There we go. And I'm going to get this one squeezed, and I'm going to start measuring and seeing how close I am. The other things I can eyeball, I just with lemon juice. Sometimes you can get a little too sour, a little too much bite. So I want this to be just right, because to me, what makes this sauce delicious is proportions. It really is a nice proportion because you don't want it too acidic. You want it just enough acidic. So I'm gonna, let me see. I think I'll do this. This should get us right where we need to be. lemon juice. Of course, this is one of my other favorite tools. I know I see on the shows where they just use like their fingers, but then the seeds get everywhere. I don't know. It's just a mess. I just like that tool. I think it makes it so much easier. We got a little lemon to spare. So we're going to be, again, doubling the recipe. So this will be 4 tablespoons of lemon juice, or 2 ounces. And then we're going to be putting 2 teaspoons Worcestershire, 2 teaspoons Dijon. So it's funny. It's like the same proportions of butter and lemon juice, and then ramped down to teaspoons with your Worcestershire and Dijon. Let's see how these are doing. Oh, those look nice. I gotta just give you a quick peek on that. You can see that. See that? Yes, very nice. So I'm gonna let these hang out. They will stay nice and warm in our air fryer. And let's see how my friends here are doing. Let's see, they're looking nice. So I've been cooking a while. One thing I do with especially steak, actually steak, chicken, any of those, and I know you can always use a thermometer, and you should use a thermometer. That would be my advice, because I would want to give you the best advice. But I don't, because I'm lazy. Let's just be honest. But I have learned of what it feels like. The gushiness would be my specific word, of what it feels like when I know that it's a medium rare or a medium. Well done. Well, it's just pretty much rock hard. So I'm feeling for the gushy factor, and I feel like this one feels done. So I'm taking that one off. I don't want to overcook them. That one feels done because it's medium. So I want there to not be like, I don't want the medium rare gushiness. I just want enough. And I don't know how to specifically tell you that without you just gotta feel. But that comes with experience. So when you're just starting out, which I know Mr. Urchi isn't just starting out, but if you are, yeah, that one just needs a little longer. If you are just starting out, use a thermometer until you kind of get to know the feel of your food. That one's done. It's almost. Okay. Now this guy should be ready. All right. So I'm going to put this in the microwave to stay warm. You can see we're almost done here, friends. Like this comes together super quick, which is just awesome. Great for weeknights. Now I'm going to add a little bit more butter to that, just to help with the creaminess. And then I'm going to be adding my lemon juice. Oh, that's a good sound. And I want to get all those bits up. So I've got a nice little coated whisk. I want to get all those bits up there off the side of the can, because those bits are flavor. Look at even right now the beautiful color of this sauce. And we haven't even added the rest of the stuff to it yet. And then to that, we're going to be adding 2 teaspoons of Worcestershire and mustard, Dijon mustard. So I'm just going to eyeball that. Now my mustard usually blurps, so I'm going to have to let it, yep, there it goes. Because we do keep it upside down, which is how this is designed, but it does tend to rush out sometimes. So I want to do 1, 2 teaspoons of Dijon. And now we rinse my little sticky Dijon fingers. And we're going to do 2 teaspoons of Worcestershire. 1, 2. All right, and now I'm just going to take my whisk, and I'm just going to incorporate it into this quick sauce. The mustard helps it thicken up, which is nice. Just going to give it a little taste to see how it is. Oh my gosh, that's so yummy. That's delicious. Very good. We're going to let that bubble just for a few minutes. Let me just turn up just a little bit, let it reduce a little bit. Okay. We put this away. And we're going to be ready for business soon. I'm bring the tasting plate over. This I use for the lemon, so I can use that to cut the meat. I'll get myself a little fork. Okay. Oh, see now it's bubbling? See that? Just set it a little bit higher. Just want it to reduce a little bit. And then we're going to get out our tenderloin, and we're going to add to the sauce. Right before then, I'm going to add the parsley. So we're getting close. Yes, they are. I agree. I totally feel like my fingers are the chef's thermometer. I absolutely agree. And don't you agree, Archie? The only way really getting to that point is experience. So at the beginning, you kind of mess up sometimes. Like I overcooked a lot of things. I luckily didn't undercook as many things as I overcooked because that would be a little scary, especially when you're talking about poultry and things. But yeah, that's just kind of what happens. I'm going to add our parsley now to our sauce. Get that in, and then we're going to get the tenderloin. That gives a nice green and some grassiness, which is lovely. Now this is the best part. So we add this gorgeous meat. Look at those juices that I don't know if you can see without it flipping off, but there's all these juices. Those need to go in your sauce. That is all yummy, porky flavors. We're going to add these back in. We're going to add that lovely juice, all that yummy flavor. Put this in. And then I just like to toss these around so they have the opportunity to just bathe in that sauce. I want all the edges covered. And then these have had a chance to come up to the temperature, so they're perfect medium. Oh my gosh, like this color of the sauce is just, I hope it's coming through. And the smell is amazing. Look at those. Look at those. Just delicious. So yummy. So let me get the cauliflower. I'm going to put that actually right back in my pan I had. There we go. I mean, what an easy meal. I'm going to take some of my cauliflower right here. This is for our dinner then. I'm going to take one of these lovelies. Oh my gosh, I'm going to try this one. And then, because what I said to you is that we like to have this extra sauce. You can see, let me in fact bring this over. You can see all of this sauce, all this yummy sauce. And if, think about it, it would be half that amount if you did the regular recipe and dimensions. And then I like to just drizzle a little on my veg, or if I had some mashed potatoes or noodles or rice. Go. We turn this, and now the moment, and that is we're going to try that. It smells so good. So I'm going to cut into my, this is perfect. I need you to see this. Perfectly pink. Wait, let me see. There you go. Perfectly pink. That's exactly what I wanted. That is the medium that I wanted. So for me, now again, you might like it differently. Totally fine. You do you. But that's how I like it. I like it medium. And I'm going to get this. Actually, I'm going to taste it first by itself. It is the best sauce. And when the pork is perfectly cooked, it sings. It's such an easy meal with basic ingredients that we have in our fridge and in our pantry, and it just elevates. I mean, actually, it's funny. I've never had steak Diane. I know that's a big deal on certain steak restaurants, but I love the pork Diane, and it's affordable. You buy it on sale, or you do the pork chops or the pork loin. The best way to do it is get the big pork loin if you're using that cut, and then just kind of cut it up, throw it in your freezer till it's ready, right? So you always get the bigger you buy, the less per pound it is. I'm going to try my cauliflower. What I love about cauliflower, it absorbs whatever you put on it. And so with that sauce, it is delicious. It is, to me, a perfect accompaniment. This is simple. This is us. We, during the week, usually just have a vegetable and a protein because we try to watch a little bit during the week. So on the weekend, we can splurge. And you guys that follow me on Twitter, you see a lot of times we splurge. It's just delicious. You don't feel like you're being good. It's a great, healthy meal. It is. I hope you try it. Please let me know down in the comments if you tried and what you thought and what worked, what didn't. And also let me know what you had on the side, like what works for you. This is kind of what works for us. I could do broccoli, I could do asparagus. There's a ton of things, but what I love, because I love this sauce so much, is I like having the cauliflower because it doesn't have a lot of flavor. It gets flavor with the roasting at least, but to me, it just like is the perfect foil to the sauce. So that's it. They're always going to be quick when we have these weeknight ones because I want it to be quick so you can get your dinner on the table. Please, thank you for joining. Archie, thank you so much for joining. DS, DS, yes. Thank you for joining. And I hope you try this recipe. If you do, let me know. And until we eat again, oh, real quick, coming up this weekend on Sunday, we're doing a nostalgia brunch theme. So brunch has always been in, but back in the day, years ago, stratas were super popular. Everyone was bringing a strata to a brunch, or if you had people over for the weekend, you always made strata. And what's great about strata is you make it the night before, and then it, it does its thing in the fridge, and you just pop it in the oven. So anyways, on Sunday, we are going to be baking a strata, and that is what is happening this weekend. So I just wanted to give you a heads up on that. And then also this week, I'm going to be dropping my schedule for November. So if you've not voted for the wings yet, vote for the wings, because as this point, when I did my first poll, it was even 50-50 for garlic parm and I think the sticky Thai. So it is neck and neck. And so if you have not voted yet, be sure to vote. It's on my community tab, and I put pictures up to entice you. So please vote which wings you'd like me to cook next month in the air fryer. So love to share that recipe. Thank you so much. Thank you, Archie. Thank you, DS. And thank you to those who are in the background. I see you even though I can't. I know you're there. And I hope you all have a great rest of your week. And let me know if you try it. Until we eat again, see you next time.